When it comes to Prince dying, I cried, man. Let me tell you. Wait a minute, hold on. I've been trying to go through my notes. I'm still looking because some of the stuff. Let me see this. Pamela Smart. I'll get to that later. I was supposed to mention how I started writing in the first place. I'm saying at a young age, I didn't mention that pertaining to suicidal feelings at a teen years. Everybody's struggle is in fact different, right? Didn't I say that before? It helps to show and express as in who you are and not be letting that be up undercover and all that rest. But yeah, like, subscribe in the Discovery channel. Yes, the Discovery channel, the link is provided below. When I say that I'm basically pointing you in the direction of everything in which entails Discovery itself. Things Discovery in fact likes to sell and all the rest. So to say Discovery channel, I said no, you're gonna want to look and find as in, oh well, let me see in the description section where she's talking about. And then when you go down there, you see other links involved. It helps to be slick on the words, and even that, I didn't plan for that. No way, no. Just go. Discovery go. Yes, ID go as well. Let me flip my hat back. Didn't they say that, TLC? Did they or did they not say that sort of thing? TLC, flip my hat back? Or do I got that wrong? But for me to flip my hat back is to let my hair blow in the wind, and yet it's in braids, right? And possibly unseen. And yeah, that means to go freestyle and live unprepared and undecided, sometimes decided. But in these sort of situations, not. Just be, right? Yeah, so Prince, the news, it is stating that yes, the family of Prince sues the doctor of Prince. Well, he's no longer the doctor, seeming Prince is well off and gone. I in fact got Prince jokes because see what many people did not state this before, how I really love and was, yes, infatuated with Prince, and I got the albums and all the rest, and yet to play even Prince dirty is a yes, do it right, as in don't make jokes and all that while you, and yet even that's fake fuckish, as in that's not real either, trying to put on all this sweet persuasion, and even when I like to even crack jokes on even Prince himself, the man, despite him being dead. To only live only once is to say, right? To get reckless on the lips. But yeah, the family. I love Prince. And what's so sad, the reason why I was crying is because I was like, you know what, Mom? We should go over to Paisley Park. Yes, I was saying that's what's so odd and so strange, because the man was on my mind like right before he died. That's what's so odd and so strange. And not only that, I had to put my dog to sleep right around that time period. Prince died, yes. The way that he died, and within the same month my dog had to, so that was in itself was grieving twice, right? That is so sad. I mean, I just blanked out in the mind, and I am right here with even that, the drug situation, because see, Prince was a very private man, which is why I loved him as well, because to not air all your business out in the streets, as in don't go, don't tell, right? Secret societies and all the rest, right? Don't say nothing about my business, all this type of stuff, and keep it on the low, keep it on the hush. That's in fact the old school motto. Prince himself practiced that sort of thing. What, you want me to go back to the news? We'll go back to the news, and I drop the set on even that, as in what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that is the old school motto of the mystery, as in when you go disappear and you don't tell your business, is to say, well, who's to know you're on drugs and who don't? This plays into that, as in it all ties the connection. Whether you're looking for, see, to look for some news and wanting straightforward is to go right outside to the news and get it. My mindset, yes, can and can't keep focus on one lane, and yet everything I say in fact makes sense, as in the guidance of the lesson. Who didn't know Prince was on drugs and who did? That's telling as well, as in I can't even say that, as in the forbidden secret of what you don't say, as in sometimes teams of people and all the rest in fact be knowing various celebrities be on drugs, and yet they keep that sort of information hidden, as in the impact on the masses, as in not saying. When people know, work for people, and they know who's using and abusing and cracked out and strung out and all the rest, and yet they don't say. There's reasons why. So yes, nobody seems to want to, yes, allow Prince to rest. I said that already. This in fact does look like a Michael Jackson case and situation. It does. Prince's opiate addiction. That is just, that don't seem right. No, I'm saying that because people even question, well, did Prince commit suicide? You know, did somebody set up Prince? You know, did somebody kill him in the elevator and say, yeah, with all that, and what is up underneath that? Because even in the celebrity death stands mystery. Hell, that's why I'm sitting here. The tragedy and death and the mystery with that. Because even that touches on what even, say like how missing children go missing and then they're later found dead or sometimes not at all. Even that's a connection as in points to that. Even in that as well. But yeah, this is off the hook. Even with the mystery of, say, the family needing and wanting to sue the doctor of Prince's. The mystery, because see, to ask the question of, well, how was Prince getting the pills in the first place? Who was providing them? Why was they providing him? What issue was the reason for them to be provided, and what dosage? As in, what time was he supposed to take them and what time was he not supposed to take them? And was he taking any other stuff that could have interacted with those type of drugs? Is to say, could Prince have had multiple people in line servicing him drugs? That's a hot mess. That's completely a hot mess. So it's stated Prince's family, yes, is suing the doctor who prescribed painkillers for him. The word is the doctor failed to treat him for his opiate addiction. That's what all this lawsuit and carrying on is about. Is the family feel, yes, the doctor about the pain prescriptions. Because of the reason. The family feel that they need to sue, yes, the doctor because of him prescribing the painkillers to Prince. The word is the doctor failed to treat him for his opiate addiction. So that's just not one issue, that's two. Because not only did the doctor prescribe him the painkillers, but he also didn't resolve an issue that was already there, such as the opiate addiction. That's heavy in itself. So you need painkillers because you had a hip. Yes, surgery. I was going to say accident. No, not that. Hip surgery and other stuff like that, right? You need something to kill the pain off with that, right? But then on the other end, that same doctor that's prescribing you those pills are also, too, not helping to fix or resolve an issue such as an opiate addiction. How do you do that? There's no safekeeping in them with that, I'm trying to say, with Prince situation. It's all tight-knit and close with the family on their end as in what they're trying to do. But that's to even ask my end to even theirs. How do you do that? Being a doctor sitting there trying to help kill pain so that Prince could whatever, yes, not be in pain because to have hip surgery is to know that's painful even sometimes up into death, right? How do you stand and correct that issue and yet sit on top of that trying to fix and repair a opiate? Yes, addiction. I'm trying to make sense of that. Because you got to treat the pain. But at the same time, you got the addiction. So that's almost to say that Prince was more likely going to die anyway. In that, I'm saying. When the shocking news came, because it was even a shock for me, that's to say that even he was going to die sooner or later in that. Because you can't need something that was in fact a need, the pills, the painkillers, and all the rest outside of all the other choices of drugs that he chose to take, right, on his own in his free time. That was to say you would in fact have needed those pills, but at the same time, opiates and all the other stuff that goes in, you need something, and then you need to fix something that can actually mess with the need of something. Those two things go together, and yet they don't. Because I want to get outside of the situation to have a need that I need painkillers, and yet somebody such as a family want me to repair my opiate addiction is to say, how do those two things match? They in fact do, as in they're too close. You're servicing something which is too close, which is in a sense can never be fixed. Because see, to need to take pain away is to say that's going to lead to addiction anyway. Because sometimes some of these pills are not strong enough, which is how some people in fact get addicted to in the first place. To say be amped up and be on stage and then get off a stage and know you done moved around and messed around too much with even that, is to know you're going to be in more pain. Whether the person was on stage or say they was on stage years before and then they had to get the surgery and then they're no longer on stage and yet they're suffering pain, is to say the pain in fact is going to be there, as in it has to be. It has to be, and it was. And so to keep popping pills, because after a while the body in fact over time, it does that with street drugs just as much as it does with pharmaceutical drugs. Your body has a tolerance, as in a cutoff with that, and sometimes a cut off the lights to do it overboard, where your pain level is here and then the tolerance to drugs gets to that point, as in you gotta keep going up to get rid of pain and whatever issues, because even issues, anxiety and all that goes with all that, you're gonna be upping up drugs once the tolerance has been set on your end, your tolerance level. Keep kicking up stuff a notch, and yet to go up too far is to say you're gonna stop breathing over time. That's what ends up happening, and that's how life be taken in the end, right? And so that's to ask for the family, how could that sort of thing ever be fixed? It wouldn't have been on the end of Prince, the doctor trying to figure out, well, let me see how I can fix his opiate addiction, as well as trying to, whether it's one doctor or two doctors or whoever, because sometimes celebrities in fact have multiple doctors in which they don't ever say, and sometimes even the public ain't aware of, and sometimes even their own family ain't aware of how they getting drugs from one doctor and then they getting it from another doctor, which is why I spoke on even Michael Jackson's situation. This is the same type of situation. Because more than likely Prince had other individuals that once again was servicing him multiple drugs and not just one, right? You can't fix that. There's no repairing that. The only thing that's left is death itself, as in that's where it stands. Because it would have been a completely, totally different thing. It would have been a completely, totally different thing if, say, Prince wasn't addicted. He would more likely still be alive today. He just would more likely be pushing and popping pills or something like that, but not in the addiction just to kill pain. But see, even Prince himself had issues, right? Many people don't know about. Girlfriends point into that as well. And stuff like that, even they don't tell. Whatever. Some people do that to protect the secrecy. Some people do that to protect their own secrecy, as in the working aspect, because to get to be talking too much even about a Prince is to know he's going to fire you and get rid of you and cut off the connection with even that, and sometimes not blackmail you, but find ways to blackball you and all the rest, and as in a Prince. And if you want to know about stuff like that, you might want to ask some celebrities personally that even they haven't told outside industry and all the rest on the news and media you would never see. And yet even Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis would even tell you about that sort of thing, as in how Prince could be sometimes mean and evil, and possibly even dumbstruck sometimes, as in sometimes know what you're doing, not knowing what you're doing, and yet sometimes going off on all the wrong people, right, about that sort of thing. Even I'm guessing in a sense, and even Prince was prone to do that too, because sometimes to live and be a genius is to sometimes mess up and fuck up in the process, right, and go off on all the wrong people when they're in fact the right people just trying to help you, and yet sometimes they can't always get to you or be there when you need them, and so to get rid of them is to fire them. And yet for even them people to talk too much, yes, it's to fire them too, especially if they know that you got drug issues even going that far back when you had Morris Day and all the rest with the time and all that. Trust and believe those sort of people in fact know those sort of things of which I'm speaking on, and they ain't even telling. Everybody around Prince in fact knew he was on drugs. They did, and they had to, because it worked that up closest to know when people are sneaking it in, as in there's mood changing, and even that with that people sneaking in the drug and the altering of the mood, or altering how laid back, or altering this, or even how they act sullen and all that other stuff. You would in fact know they're slipping stuff in or something even before they go on stage. So yes, the crew once again had to have known that sort of thing. That sort of thing can't be hidden even when you're working for somebody, because even to say that it took somebody in Prince's crew to put the drugs supposedly put it in their name for him is to say that sort of thing happens all the time with celebrities as well. The public just don't know it. Because it is done like that to keep the low profile of the celebrity. Because no celebrity wants to go see a doctor or anybody else be prescribed some stuff or whatever, or try to be doing stuff street illegally, right? And then have their name tied in with that. It's best to have some crew of people say put that sort of thing in their name, and not you, the celebrity, put it in your own name and all that, right? There's more even up underneath that. I won't say. I'll leave that part alone. I'll leave you, the viewer, to figure it out or try to guess. So yeah, so the doctor with all this, he in fact bears the brunt and the blow of that. He's faced with the responsibility of that, right? Of the late singer's death, which occurred 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Was it that long ago? Man, time be flying. So the prince's family, they in fact seek a unspecified, the damages, $50,000. That's really not a lot, and yet it is when you ain't got it. I right now could in fact use that 50,000, but for Prince on his own, and as in, I'm saying people fail to make sense of my wording when I say that's not a lot, and yet I can use that despite Prince being dead, because to say 50,000 when you ain't got a lot of money is to say that's in fact a lot of money when you need money. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And yet even the family has to be reimbursed, because what has happened, the life, and yet that is partially the doctor's fault, but more than anything, that's Prince's fault as well. The responsibility of where you gotta, try to take responsibility of your own life. That's in fact true. That's not me being insincere with that. That's in fact a fact that if you, got issues, anxiety issues, he was known to have stage fright, sometimes being nervous, is to try to figure out what other better way to deal with that. But to say that you dance as much as you did is to say you wrecked shop on your hips, so it was kind of a rap with even that. Damaging your hips with the dance movements now that you're forced to become addicted. So yeah, young Prince was gonna die anyway. That's how you let that rest. Yeah, so I think that's all to be said about that. That's my man. Then I say that when I show my music pages and all that, when I said, well, he's my #1 inspiration. I love to crack some Prince jokes. And I'm thinking even from the grave, even from heaven, even for hell, or whatever people like to say where celebrities go, they going to hell, right? Wherever the man is at, I'm sure he would agree with even my jokes, because even he would be that way. I'm saying despite him being dead, I'm sure he would even agree, because that's one thing that me and Prince have in common, is the playful nature of the serious aspect all the time, but the sarcasm more than anything. Saying stuff that piss and flip people off. Because did Prince or did he not like Justin Bieber? Many individuals don't. And yet they have their ways of showing even that. Not Justin Bieber, Justin Timberlake. I said Justin Bieber, didn't I? Did Prince, let me re-rap that on the rewind. Did Prince, yes, the singer, did he or did he not like or despise Justin Timberlake before his death? As far back as Justin Timberlake being with NSYNC and all the rest. Some of these celebrities be hating and despising each other, in which, it comes out. Sometimes it don't even, right? Even the fighting and all the rest. Michael Jackson and Prince had their thing and all that other stuff. I didn't say fling, I said thing, right? Who don't like who, right? Celebrity drama and the chaos with even that. The zoo bar, like I like to call it. But yeah, that's completely off the hook. The drug aspect. Like, how do you go to sleep, wake up one day, and the next thing you know, all the celebrities you love, in fact, are gone? That's what this female was cool with, right? I don't know where she's at in today, but she said that a few years back when I spoke about that, even online on Twitter. I said, man, she's told me all the celebrities you so loved and admire are in fact gone in their grave. That's Luther Vandross, that's Prince, that's Whitney Houston, that's Michael Jackson, that's Aaliyah, and the list can go on. The list can go completely on, because I just be like, that is messed up. What is happening? But maybe even that was set there. I said that in my last video. Maybe that was set there to teach the masses and the public something, that nothing lasts forever, right? We're just here temporary to experience life itself. And at the same time, you know, when you try to say, well, such and such is immortal or whatnot, speaking about Michael Jackson or Prince or whoever, right? Thinking you're young and they're going to last forever, to say no, that more than likely is not going to be the case, because everybody, all things die out. That's the point of the life cycle itself. But yet Prince served his purpose and served it very well, as in he entertained you the best way he knew how to, whether on drugs or whether without it, and whether cussing folks out, in which he did behind the scenes. Yes, with even that and somewhat coming out during interviews, showing even some of that, but not fully speaking on it, just rolling his eyes and all the rest, showing who he couldn't stand and being flimsy with even that. Prince, androgynous. That's what me and Prince got in common as well. I feel like that's my other half. Yeah, even from the grave with that. But I think that's all to be said. Hopefully they figure out and clear up that mess over there. Let me pause, because I'll be getting text messages. Hold on. Should I get some Gatorade? I don't really like to drink Gatorade all like that no more because of sugar content. That high fructose is a no-go. That sort of thing, in fact, wreck your teeth and all the rest, and most people don't know that. Possibly wreck your brain and cause anxiety issues as well. I don't really think I want none of that. Maybe I should just get me some hot flaming Cheetos. Let me put that on the text. Hot flaming Cheetos. Because I don't want none of that. Matter of fact, hot flaming Cheetos. Hold on. My boots. But yeah, I slipped in the tub or something happened, or I ran into the counter. I be running into stuff and know I don't use drugs all like that, and never heavily, right? I respect everybody and what they do, and yet I had a big old bruise on my booty. That's in fact, oh, you know what? That points in when Prince came out with that outfit he had on. Anybody remember that live performance Prince did and his butt cheeks was hanging out? That is so crazy. I just pointed that in with even that Prince himself. It helps to have a versatile mind such as my own. Didn't I say that before? I can be talking, and life is like this for me. I can be talking and talk about anything and go any which way and carry on a conversation for days on end, just bringing in and stringing up anything and any type of conversation that I hold and withhold, right? But yeah, on my ass cheek, I got like this big old bruise. That's in fact a truth. And so my mom just, text me talking about she's going to send it to everybody in the family. Well, go ahead with even that, because I might in fact get on this camera and pull down my pants like Prince did and shake it in the process, so even all y'all viewers can see that sort of thing. My bruise on my butt cheek. That is off the hook. Cause I was like, well, I didn't even know. Today, I didn't even notice that bruise was there, because sometimes I'll be doing stuff. That shows you how strong I can be and impactful. Not up the ass, not impacted, no. Impactful pertaining to sometimes when I, be doing things and banging up into stuff, right? And I ran right into something, I guess, some days back. I don't know. Could have been the car door. I don't even know. And yet it's a big old bruise that was pointed out to me while I was standing here right in the kitchen naked. The longer I go on this camera, more individuals gonna know how I do, as in the live and the life and the freedom how I do. Who stands in the living room as well as the kitchen fully, completely butt naked, and yet all the blinds is open, as well as there's people in the house, including the dogs. That's what I do. I used to wash, yes, when we had our home, I used to in fact wash dishes completely, totally naked with all the blinds open and all the rest. Yes, just enough to see, as in to not care, right? Not to draw people in yet, but not caring. Washing dishes fully nude and naked, right? And yet to do that sort of thing all the time is to say you're going to bend over or bump into something or fall into something and then not notice that there's a bruise there on your behind. And then it's pointed out to you. And then not only is it pointed out to you, as in I was told, do you know you got a big bruise on your behind? And it looked like a dog or somebody had bit me on my butt cheek, right? Prince would love even me for this conversation. I wish dude was alive, man. And not only that, I wish I could have went to Paisley Park. But yeah, that is odd in itself. So then she had to take a picture to show me that this is in fact there. Let me pause. Let me check something right quick. Yeah, so she had to show me on picture that sometimes that's like how people say, well, ooh, you got a lot of dandruff in your scalp, right? You got a lot. This is Prince conversation as well. This is in fact the connection I have. See, as many people in Hollywood people have connection with in the manner of how you carry yourself, right? I'm saying celebrities. Yes, I said this before. It seemed like it's cool for celebrities to do it on TV, and yet individuals such as you and I, the viewer, when we come out the box like this, something's wrong. Or you're insane or you're crazy. No, that's in fact fake as fuck as well, because even Prince is dead, as in that shows you how much even human he was. I talk somewhat like Prince himself, as in I'm not trying to do it. That's just my brain. The brain wave. People can sit and listen to me talk on camera all day, and me just let my mind let loose, and they'll be like, man, she's crazy. She's off the hook. She must be a writer or something, because the term that she used don't fit this and it don't fit that, as in her English is completely broken. Yes, that's the point. So get back to what I was saying. My ass cheek got that big old bruise. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. And she gonna go ahead. That's what the text was about. She gonna go ahead and send it to everybody in the family. That's fine by me. That is completely fine. Let her know. Let her know that's completely fine by me. And if you want to, go ahead and put that on Facebook as well. As in a lesson of don't be running into things and not paying attention, which is something I did, which is why the bruise is there to begin with. Hold on. Let me go back right quick. That bruise is massively big. My butt cheeks, you could really see it. I shouldn't even be showing that. Somebody more likely going to try to get me banned. You see that? That's in fact. I'm holding. Look how I'm holding my butt cheeks tight. But that's real life. That represents real life as well. Yeah, that in fact represents real life, right? So what even me saying that is, yeah, I in fact bumped into what I bumped into, right? And so to do that sort of thing is to say, well, man, what do you have here? A bruise you can't even get rid of. It's just gonna have to heal on its own, is what I'm trying to say. It in fact is. Hold on, let me go back right quick. That is so messed up. Because when I think back in memory, I'm like, well, what did I crash into? You see what I'm saying? That's completely odd in itself. But yeah, it truly is. But yeah, that was off the hook. I know I got off topic and I should. But yeah, when Prince wore that that outfit out that he wore live on stage, people was in fact pissed off about that as well. Some of the choices celebrities make when they Janet Jackson, she got a lot of his style too when her boobs fell out, right? People can ask on days, well, did Janet Jackson set that up? What was the situation with even that, right? Many people ask and the vocalizer that, well, who did what, right? Janet's boobs popped out, and yet she's inspired by Prince, which is weird in itself. Because even he had his ass out. So that's the question. Who planned what and why? As in who did what first and why? I don't know. But even that's real as in a human life. Who never seen boobs before? I think with even Janet Jackson, she should have did it somewhere else. I did say that, somewhere outside of that. I'm saying, yes, you in fact have respect for children and all the rest, right? I'm thinking you would want to do that at your concert and not at the Super Bowl. I got love and respect all day for her. And yet the older you get, you start to look at stuff different. Because even I used to fight, yes, people over even Janet Jackson, which I ain't even saying about her. Over that situation when it happened at the Super Bowl, her boobs tipping out, right? Whether not purpose or purpose, right? I used to literally get in arguments and fights with people and threaten to fight them and all the rest, right? And I'm sure Prince fans used to do the same when people was making a big thing about him, but it didn't get that far, because that was a live performance. But yeah, at the Super Bowl, you more than likely wouldn't want to do that sort of thing. You really wouldn't want to. The older I get and I look at this sort of situation, even with a Janet Jackson, it's a say, because you wouldn't, depending on even Janet's mindset, there's people that, so management and all, so with that sort of thing is to say, well, if that was your child and say they were watching the Super Bowl, would you, I'm saying Janet now that she has a child, because I never even questioned that myself, because that points back to Prince as well. Most people don't know and see that the had Prince pull his ass out, not pull it out, but it be there on a live performance, and then Janet Jackson say had the same situation, but it's at the Super Bowl, her boobs, is to say those sort of individuals in fact meet eye to eye, match Prince and Janet, because that's both one another's style, is what I'm trying to say, right? Despite her being Michael's sister, she has her own style, right? Which is why she chose the name Janet, just like it had a name Prince, right? And so the question will be in 2018, even with Janet, yes, with her child, this has to be stated on right here, documented on the screen for those that, yes, that's not a joke. No, it's not, right? That's funny. You guys have to in fact see that. If Janet, because she's blowing up even more so in 2018, right? Beside the scandal that has happened, right? To say that sort of thing, seeming she has her own child son now, is for you guys over there, yes, to ask, well, how would Janet feel if somebody did that and her son was watching? You see what I'm saying? That's so interesting. The older you grow, your mindset evolve and change. Because that's even human. Boobs. Seeing boobs or seeing Prince ass out is human, right? And yet adults can take that sort of thing and not really children. Yet you do have breastfeeding, which children are forced to see even their moms or other parents or other individuals, or children see other grown people breastfeeding and all that, right? But to be on stage, right, and put on a performance and let some boobs plop out or see Prince ass pop out, pertaining to even Janet Jackson, is to once again ask over there, well, if say she did it at the Super Bowl and children were watching, that's why parents, yes, everybody, everywhere was upset, right? That's to ask Janet in 2018 today, August 2018 to be specific, how would she feel if she was watching somebody and somebody did that sort of same thing, a celebrity, as her son was sitting there watching them on the TV? Whether Janet had a son, a daughter, or a twin set, or whatever else, right? How would she feel about that? Because sometimes it's so weird when you grow up and you really look at stuff. Remember I said I used to go blow to blow, toe to toe for even Janet Jackson. Because I love Prince and Janet and set them side by side, is to know even that's one in the artistship. That's not a word, yet I'm making it. It means kinship, where artist meets another artist, and recognition of even that, we're all adds up. They're just alike, right? And so it's odd, because to do that in front of children at the Super Bowl, that's just, you would, the older you get, say, well, how would I feel if my child was sitting there and all of a sudden that was to flash, whether it's accidental or purpose? If it was purpose, would you want to do that sort of thing again and let somebody else, another celebrity, say them do it again as you're watching it? Does that make sense? If I was a celebrity and say I'm watching back on TV and somebody take the time and flash their boob and say it's an accident, or maybe it's purpose, right? And I'm watching that with my child, my young child, would I want my child to see that? That's how the mindset get the older you get. Because see, even myself way back then, I would have been, oh, fuck off and even that, because children need to know what a boob is and this and this and that, and they need to know this. I can totally agree somewhat to even that, the human level aspect on that end, but at the same time, you do somewhat want to have respect for even children while they're sitting there. As in, if it's an accident, then okay, right? But if it's not, and say its purpose is to say you lack respect sometimes for children, as many individuals can and do, where you lack as a human being being a celebrity. See where I'm saying? Where I'm tying all this back in with even industry, the human level aspect, where even celebrities sometimes can disrespect, yes, individuals, whether they're trying to or whether they're not trying to. That can be the intention, as in they're putting on a performance, and yet sometimes they might in fact forget that even children are watching. That sort of thing. A Janet Jackson or a Prince or anything like that, they consider that the consumer is in fact an adult and not a child. They sometimes overlook that sort of thing because the parental advisory is to know, well, they are in fact those type of singers that sing about sex. So you would in fact want to keep your child at home. And you will be thinking that, well, Janet Jackson is going to perform at the Super Bowl, or Prince is going to place a live performance. So I might in fact sit back and chill and yet not want my children in a room. I in fact might want them to get out, right? And yet not every parent thinks that way. And then when a slip up happened in the way that it did, where Prince ass come out or Janet Jackson boobs come out, is to say, what do we have here? Now another scandal. And everybody's mad. When two, also because the responsibility leans on not just the artist, but the parents as well. Because to know that the artists that package sex is to know that's what they're going to bring to the table. So to know that they're coming on the TV is to hurry up and cut it off, or place your children in a room where all eyes can't be seen, to that sort of thing. And then when it goes for the artist to respect that children might in fact be there watching when you're giving a performance for families. Super Bowl is for families, or sometimes live shows are in fact for families. It's for family, it's family oriented shows, and yet to be slipping up stuff is to know children is going to be seeing that sort of thing. That's why I'm saying parents got to in fact take control and take control back over the TV screen of their own, yes, as in not allowing their child to sit there, whether it's a Super Bowl or not, to hear, well, Janet Jackson, and see her start dancing on stage. It's a hurry up and get them children out of the room, because you know what's coming next. And not just her, Lady Gaga, Prince, all the people that I love, admire, and adore. Is to say, even Madonna herself, despite her getting older, right? So you just don't know what's coming out as it's coming. And yet to know sex is something that they sell, such as an album. There's many individuals that didn't even know that Prince sold sex, that Janet Jackson sold sex, that Madonna sold sex. You're asking, well, who didn't know that? I'm thinking that would be the first thing I would have did, either shut down my TV screen during the time that Janet went on stage, right? Or even when Prince went on stage, shut down my TV so my child couldn't see it, or put them out the room or something like that, and then bring them back in the room once Janet or whoever else, Prince and all the rest, is off the stage. That's how you handle that sort of thing. You get rid of the kids, because yeah, that's me pointing awareness to not only the celebrity but to the parents, and the responsibility on both ends. They're both guilty for that sort of thing. The artist selling the sex, Prince, Janet, Madonna, Lady Gaga, whoever else sells sex, Cardi B, all them, right? They're nobody's role model. No, that's not their position in life. It's the parents' position to play as a role model to your own child. You shouldn't want anybody else raising your kids, right? But that's still to speak on the responsibility, as in will all measure up, as in be a parent to your child, whether Prince, Janet, Madonna, any of these individuals come out on stage twerking and dropping panties and all the rest with that, right? That makes better sense, that everybody should take responsibility. And yet the artist has already stated, many of them time and time again, even Snoop Dogg himself have stated, I'm nobody's role model. My thing is, my job is here to entertain you and put a parental sticker, warning, and all the rest. And yeah, PG-13, make that for whatever over there, as in they need to watch that over there, while this is adult oriented right here. That's in fact the role of the artist, as it needs to be done, should be done, and fall in line with even that. And then for the parents, don't sit around blaming people when these sort of people do that sort of thing, taking off their clothes, because that's to be expected. Remember, that is what is to be bought and buy. That's their drive in life, as in that's what they're selling, and it's telling, as in on my end, as in what they do and like to do. So to not be a part of that is to, yes, turn off even the Super Bowl for just a little bit of while. Because even that's a category in its end, selling sex. And yet even the industry, the further you go, the more extreme stuff goes pertaining to selling sex and advertising and marketing. See, because sex sells, and it's going to always be that way, because it's human nature to be a part of something you're always told to keep hidden. That's why people get fascinated by sex. It's not that people want to just be having sex and constantly seeing sex. No. It's the fact that people, want to... Hold on, let me pause. People, in fact, want to see that sort of thing. Let me pause. Hold on. I hate when people be demanding towards me. I can't stand that sort of thing, as in it makes me go off. The demanding aspect. Well, you didn't do this. And, well, when I do that sort of thing, y'all get mad. I guess it's a reflection in the mirror, as in look in the mirror. But I don't really be too demanding. I do scream sometimes when it needs to be physical. But anyway, yeah, so people, when sex, people being infatuated with that because that sort of thing is supposedly forbidden nature. And yet it's how we got here. It's how billions of people roam the globe today. It's through sex. And yes, you might in fact want to put some regulation on that somewhat, because people would be raping and molesting all type of people. You do want to in fact get a handle on that, as in a say, as in put people in their categories of where they need to stick and stay, right? Because sometimes crazy people, lunatics, they go overboard with that, taking advantage. And I speak on Bill Cosby, right? But at the same time, to know that sex is something that created man and woman, is to say that sort of thing people are going to want to see, because remember, that's what makes us human, as in that's how we're created. So they're going to be drawn to that. Not only that, for many individuals all across the globe, sex is something that feels good to them, right? So that's what sells. Because to put something on the TV screen in the beginning of time, way back in the day, and say sex could be viewed as something being promiscuous, and you put it on TV and people are like, oh my gosh, they're fearful of it. And yet people tune in and say they're in fact buying that, because they're like, well, maybe other people are like me and they're watching it. It's to say they're going to feed on that and feed on it more, because that's how they were created, right? And so when you sell it all on the TV, it's to say more and more people going to tune in, because that's just human nature. It's almost animalistic, right? There's survival in that. To not have sex is to not reproduce, which leads to more populations of people, which keeps earth and the environment going as well. Because even animals, not bestiality, no, all that, the life cycle and everything, where all goes together to keep the world and everything, the earth itself, it keeps it balanced. Just humans being here breathing, and trees putting out, yes, oxygen to keep humans with all that, keeping the air, despite it being full of pollution sometimes. We all feed on one another with that. And so sex does that sort of thing. That could be too why it's on the TV screen as well, because there be regulations sometimes in other countries and all that other stuff in other lands. Asia, China was one of those where they was used to have 9-10 kids, and then they stopped that down to the one child, yes, rule, right? That's the way to kill off a population, a masses of people very quickly, to regulate that sort of thing. So to keep it flourishing, and two is to put out sex in a way to keep people repopulating all the rest that fits and ties into that, keep people to continue to breed, to continue to make human life. So that keeps the earth and everything balanced. And yet sometimes it's overdone, where people keep having 50 million children where they can't even take care of and all that other stuff and keep up. Can't afford this because I got too many kids. That you can lead to unbalance as well with that, trying to portray something on the TV to keep individuals, to keep populating, to keep the world going. Because the more populations of people we got, that's going to keep the world evolving, revolving, and all the rest, right? But to overdo that, where you have overpopulation, is to say it's got to be regulated as well. Should be some balance in the middle. Not too many people know that. That's in fact the drop science on your end. I'm gonna speak about that in another video. Overpopulation and the harm, where it tugs and feeds on resources too much, and you drain water down, you drain down resources and all that other stuff. But yeah, all that goes together. Speaking on population, overpopulation, Janet Jackson, Prince, the ass and the titties and the boobies and all that all goes together, right? From my end drive to yours, the scientific level of why sex is there on the TV screen. You gotta sell that, because see, if that's not there, sometimes it's viewed as bad as a lot of times, because of people's beliefs and what they practice, religious practices, all that other stuff. You gotta have that there some type of way or somehow, because if you don't, populations would in fact die off, as in people will in fact stop procreating. They will stop doing that sort of thing. To be mass media company and run that is, yes, to help to continue to keep the population growing with that, despite it being overdone. I think America should in fact set a 2 or 3 child limit. Once it gets to being 7, 8, 9, 15 kids, how some groups of people like to have 15, 20 kids, that's overdoing it. That's going to drain the resources, water and everything else, and possibly mess up climate and all that other stuff, imbalance, and trying to go green more to bring back harmony. Yes, some question global warming and all that, how the overpopulation disaster with that can mess up water, oceans and all that, kill off animals and stuff like that, and everything surrounding, right? That all points together to pertain to the TV, keeping it going, because see, if there was no sexual nothing or nothing like that, people would more likely stop doing that, and then yeah, once again, that's what you would have. Populations will dwindle down too much. But I do think 2 or 3 child regulation across the globe would in fact help overpopulation. I'm thinking in a sense that it would. This is like one of them Michael Jackson type of conversations. It helps to go there even with that, right? It in fact does. Prince was into that type of thing too, as well as Marvin Gaye. The ecosystem, Marvin Gaye, when he sung about songs like that. You had What's Going On. You had all type of songs by various celebrities that can speak in the manner in which I do, as in they choose to pay attention, which too could be why they were there forced to work too, because they have a recording company industry or whatever, and say you got artists that pay attention to those things, and they're artists, they like to create art, is to say that's going to be fueled in even their art pack, such as an album, and the sales with that helps to keep the public aware, is all I'm trying to say. So I think that's all to be now for this video. I'm gonna end it out, and I'll be back for the next one. I think I'm gonna wait to make the next video until tomorrow. So that's all to be said for now, and I'm gone. One.